welcome to this episode of our program, Daily Debate. As usual, we will be discussing an important topic. Tonight we'll be focusing on the social protection programs that were instructed during the past period. The President has already ordered an almost 50% increase in the appropriations for the various subsidy and social protection programs in the budget for the fiscal year 2023-2024 in order to ease the burden on citizens during the global inflation wave. The President also during the past period has followed up with his instructions and also the process of developing the National Authority for Social Insurance within the framework of a comprehensive future vision, which includes modernizing the administrative structure of the authority and its insurance headquarters, including the citizen service offices, in addition to promoting mechanisms and digital transformation and developing the human resources or the human calibers. The President has, during the past period, stressed that all developmental projects mainly focusing on serving the citizen everywhere, noting that the state is always keen to serve the citizen. We'll be speaking about that tonight with our dear guest, Mrs. Makram Labib, economic expert. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, dear. Thank you.
Thank you. And before we delve into our discussion, let's first have a quick look on this report. And Egypt needs 70 trillion to achieve aspirations of Egyptians for development, according to President Sisi. Let's watch.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi said that Egypt needs 70 trillion Egyptian pounds to achieve the aspirations of Egyptians for decent standards of living, while inaugurating several projects under the umbrella of Decent Life Initiative in Upper Egypt's Suhag Governorate, including Suhag Educational Hospital. The President said that the governorates of Upper Egypt had suffered for decades from lack of services, as he was illustrating on the state steps to provide basic necessities and services to the residents of Upper Egypt. He added that Egypt needs 60,000 classrooms annually at the cost of 60 billion Egyptian pounds to keep pace with population growth. El-Sisi said that Egypt faced the repercussions of the Russian-Ukrainian war by increasing social protection measures, noting that managing this crisis was based in the first place on efforts to reduce its direct impacts on the citizens by implementing an integrated series of social protection measures and working to reduce the waves of inflation that hit the world and cast a shadow on us all. The President stated that Egypt was still dealing with these repercussions and that the economic reforms it had undertaken enabled it to withstand the global crisis. The head of state said that in parallel with those measures, the state worked to boost the role of the private sector, attracting direct foreign investments to support macroeconomic indicators, adding that the state also implemented initiatives and strategies to localize industries and to support export, as well as to reduce the balance of trade deficit, which is directly reflected in the value of the annual import bill. He also said that he instructed all state institutions to give development in Upper Egypt top priority, especially in the fields of health and education, in parallel with the mega projects. For his part, Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli indicated that Upper Egypt's governorates have received 1.5 trillion Egyptian pounds worth of investments through the past 7 years, revealing that a quarter of the state's total investments have been spent on projects in Upper Egypt. He added that the total investments implemented and underway in Suhag amounted to 102 billion Egyptian pounds. Dr. Madbouli said a total of 415 projects were implemented in Suhag. He added 32 of these projects centered on building and developing hospitals and medical centers at a cost of 5.4 billion Egyptian pounds. The Premier revealed that there are 324,400 beneficiaries from the government initiative Takaful wa Karama that provided a total of 11.4 billion Egyptian pounds in financial aid to more than a quarter of Suhag's residents. He added that furthermore, 2.4 billion Egyptian pounds was given in the form of loans to stimulate economic growth, resulting in carrying out 117,000 projects. The Decent Life National Project, Haya Karima in Arabic, was initiated experimentally in 2019 by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, and its first phase was officially launched in July 2021. The initiative aims to improve standards of living, infrastructure and basic services, including healthcare across the countryside. It covers 4,658 villages across the country, which are home to 58% of Egypt's 103 million population. Madbouli stated that natural gas has reached 210,000 residential blocks. In terms of roads, 360 roads have been built since 2014 at a cost of 3.4 billion Egyptian pounds, with 245 currently in progress. Moreover, there are now 4 axes connecting the east and west bank of the Nile, which have been built at a cost of 10 billion Egyptian pounds, he said. The Prime Minister said that since the launch of Decent Life initiative, the following projects have been carried out: 183 educational centers, 48 youth centers, 44 medical centers, 30 governmental centers, 30 agricultural centers, and 150 postage centers. He stated that 37 projects for drinking water have also been completed, and that progress is being made on 181 sewage system projects.
Welcome back, and to our main topic of the day, and the socio-economic package and the social protection that was adopted by the government in face of the current challenges. Let me again welcome our dear guest, Professor Nevine Makram Labib, Director of the Social and Cultural Planning Center at the Institution for National Planning. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, dear, for the kind invitation. Thank you.
Thank you. And as we said at the very beginning, this socio-economic program and plan put by the leadership, and definitely that was very much directed by the President for the fiscal year 2023-2024 in face of all the global crises. Let me take here, how do you view this? How do you view the importance of such a program and plan at this very critical time?
Actually, I see it as a very good way of our government and of our president in order to deal with the economic crisis and the needs of the less privileged people who are really affected nowadays with these problems. So it's a way to help fighting poverty, which is one of the main SDGs. It's a very important sustainable goal, and it's one of the main pillars for Egypt 2030. So I guess it's a very efficient and effective way to deal with the economic crisis, especially when it comes to the less privileged people.
Indeed,
Yes.
indeed, and that's what we are very much speaking about in this package of social protection, because we're speaking about a package. We're speaking about a different kind of social protections that have been put by the government. So how do you view these packages or that plan differ and add to the expansion of the basic beneficiaries of programs of social protection?
Again, I see it as a very effective way, as I just told you, to deal with the economic crisis. So if, for example, you take Decent Life Initiative that started...
This is one of the very huge, or maybe the biggest in the history of Egypt.
And very successful initiatives
Indeed.
as well, because it's providing services to the citizens. We're talking here about healthcare services, about educational services, and this has raised their sense of belonging, which was one of the problems that we're dealing with in our society. That these people felt that they're left and no one cared about their needs. But with this initiative, which is very successful based on the results, we can see that nowadays we are in a very much better position with them.
If we take Decent Life, Haya Karima, as an example, we have to say that it covers more than 60 million people across Egypt. First phase already has covered that some, and the second phase, which has started since January, will be serving more 21 million others.
And then we have the third phase, and we have the healthcare services,
Definitely.
we have the health insurance project.
I guess that it covers all sectors.
Yes.
From housing till training till empowering.
Housing, training, empowering, healthcare, education.
Services.
Yes.
At large, indeed, indeed. This is one kind of the social protection the President has directed with. It is a presidential initiative after all. Other presidential initiatives were تكافل and Karama.
ابدأ.
Shoulder by shoulder.
Yes.
ابدأ or start.
Helping with the industry.
Indeed, indeed.
Okay.
So let me know your reading. Let me know how do you view those initiatives and how they carry out with their job in order to serve citizens in their own way.
Actually, it's dealing with with our Egypt Vision 2030. So we're talking about the Sustainable Development Goals, how to help our country achieve these goals, especially when we're in 2030 right now, and now we're working with the 2063, hopefully, the other vision with Africa. So we cared about measuring and assessing the healthcare services, the educational services, how our government is dealing with the less privileged people when it comes to their needs. So I see it again as a very successful way, very successful initiatives, especially that it can get along with the digital transformation initiative that we're applying nowadays in all of our institutions, and with the artificial intelligence strategy.
Indeed. When we speak about, we're speaking about the digital transformation at large, because this is the main theme right now the state is maintaining. The country is totally transforming into digital.
Yes.
Very much. But before we go into this, let me take here, in all his statements and in all his directives, the President has always urged the private sector, the NGOs, to further contribute in those initiatives and in social protection programs. How do you view the importance of that? How do you view the role of this, these sectors?
Again, let's link it with the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. So you'll find that this is the Sustainable Development Goal number 17. That's how the NGOs can contribute with the government.
How can they contribute?
They can
and
help.
What their role is?
Okay. They can help the investors. They can help with some ideas. They can help in the training sector. So it's not only providing funds, but providing training and capacity building for example, the startups. So you find many startups in Egypt, and these youth and these fresh graduates need the help of not only the government, but also the private sector and the NGOs. So you'll find many initiatives coming from the NGOs and coming from the private sector in order to help, in order to support, whether by providing training, soft skills, providing marketing courses for them, providing some IT computer courses for them, and providing funds. So we need this triangle. We cannot rely only on the initiatives provided by the government. We need to help our government as well.
One of the big services that is really put by several initiatives is empowering women,
Yes.
empowering youth, in terms of helping women achieve the role, particularly the household, and training youth in order to be able to help themselves. In your capacity as director of the Social and Cultural Planning Center, let me know more of what is being done, particularly in such domains. We're speaking about rich, this is the real richness of our country.
Okay, actually we had a seminar 2 days ago about women empowerment in the Institute. And with this Institute, we have focused on how to empower women, whether if we're talking about social empowerment or economic empowerment. So we have both sides. And again, going back to artificial intelligence, which is my specialization, because I'm professor of AI, teaching AI not only in Egypt, but in India as well. So we're focusing on trying to educate women, trying to give them some training courses about the artificial intelligence, about digitalization, the digital transformation, in order to empower them economically. Because if they are well trained, then they will be able to work remotely, whether with the local market or within the global market. And it will be kind of a way to have a good income, a decent income. So that's our vision of helping women.
Digital transformation and artificial intelligence. And they have a very big, very huge role that can help in the provided services. Before we go on with, or continue on with our discussion, let me first have the second report. And President Sisi orders increasing social protection budget to £529.7 billion. Let's watch.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has ordered an almost 50% increase in appropriations for various subsidy and social protection programs in the budget for fiscal year 2023-2024 in order to ease the burden on citizens during the global inflation wave. In a press release, Minister of Finance Mohammed Mait said the budget for subsidy and social protection network would increase from 358.4 billion Egyptian pound in fiscal year 2022-2023 to 529.7 billion Egyptian pound in fiscal year 2023-2024, an increase of 48.8%. Mait added, this increase will allow the state to expand the social protection network for the most vulnerable families as part of overall efforts to improve standards of living. The finance minister explained that 127.7 billion Egyptian pound have been allocated in the new budget to subsidize food commodities, a 41.9% increase over the 90 billion Egyptian pound figure in the current fiscal year. He said that 119.4 billion Egyptian pound have been allocated to subsidize petroleum products. He added that 6 billion Egyptian pound have been allocated for health insurance and medicines, a 58.2% increase over figures in the current fiscal year. 10.2 billion Egyptian pound have been allocated for subsidized housing, a 31.5% increase over figures in the current fiscal year. 31 billion Egyptian pound have been allocated for social security pensions, a 25% increase over figures in the current fiscal year, Mait said. Additionally, 202 billion Egyptian pounds have been allocated for pension fund contributions, an increase of 6% over the 191 billion Egyptian pound figure in the current fiscal year, which will guarantee financial liquidity necessary to serve pensioners, beneficiaries, and the insured. In addition, the state has earmarked 8 billion Egyptian pounds to cover the cost of medical treatments to citizens, with an annual growth rate of 14.3%. Might also stressed that the state is forging ahead with efforts to complete the first phase of the Decent Life presidential initiative to develop the countryside. Moreover, the finance minister said that the government is taking necessary measures to support the agricultural and industrial productive sectors, allocating 19.5 billion Egyptian pounds to support credit facilities for owners of industrial and agricultural projects to stimulate expansion of production. Additionally, 28.1 billion Egyptian pounds have been earmarked in the budget of the next fiscal year under the Export Support Program to support exports, an increase of 368.3% over the 6 billion Egyptian pounds in the current budget.
Right, welcome back, and back to you, Professor Nevine, and digital transformation. Digital transformation is a very important tool for not just teaching people, but also to have the database so services can really be distributed in the best way. How do you view the importance of digital transformation? How do we apply digital transformation in the social protection program sometimes?
Okay. Before talking about how to apply the digital technologies, not only digital transformation, in the social protection programs, let's kind of define what's digital transformation, because for some people, they think that digital transformation is equivalent to automation, which is not the case. We're not talking about just having an electronic file, but we're talking about 3 stages. We start, like you mentioned, with the database. So we need, first of all, to explore the data to see what we call the analog and sometimes noisy data, the data that is sometimes incomplete, not updated, inaccurate, and so on. So we need, first of all, to explore these data and to have it in a nice database so that it's clean data, not noisy data. And that's what we call the digitization. And then we move towards the processes. What about the procedures? What about the processes? How we do a certain transaction. And we have to revise this. Sometimes we eliminate some of the processes, sometimes we add other processes, or we merge. So this is what we call...
No, I need more explanation to this stage. What do you mean by eliminating and I mean the whole process? I didn't get exactly what you mean by that. Eliminating some data or
no, eliminating some processes. Like for example, in order to provide the citizens with a certain service.
Yes.
You need to go through 5 or 6 procedures.
Yes.
So for us, we revise these procedures. They are called in our IT jargon that processes. So we revise. Sometimes we find unnecessary processes. So we start by eliminating these processes before the automation phase. Because some people think that we take things as is and convert it to electronic services, which is not the case. Sometimes we manage to eliminate and make things shorter and easier for the citizen. Okay, because digital transformation has an ultimate goal.
Decreasing their
yes, decreasing the effort, the burden, the time, needed to have a certain service or to provide a certain service to the citizen.
And a more accurate one.
Exactly. So that's the digitization, and then digitalization, and then we go for the digital transformation, because digital transformation is about having a new mindset, perceiving things in a different way, perceiving services and citizens in a different way. That's why I started by telling you that it is not automation, no, it's a broader term. And its ultimate goal is to improve the citizen satisfaction.
What's the third stage?
The digital transformation. So,
exactly.
yes, we start with the data, as you mentioned. That's the digitization phase. And then processes, that's the digitalization. And then the third one is the digital transformation. So that's kind of a result. And it's aiming at improving citizen satisfaction or providing citizen delight.
So how could that contribute to easing the services for citizens, which is the end result that we need to achieve?
For example, if you take the healthcare services provided in the insurance system, the new system. So you'll find that before having this system, the citizen had to go through many procedures. But right now, when the citizen goes to the hospital, he just presents his ID. And with the ID or with the patient ID that is saved there, they can retrieve the file, the patient file. And he can ask for the service that he needs, and they can transfer this file to the doctor, the medical doctor, or the nurse, or the X-ray department, depending on the healthcare service required. And then he goes there, and he can obtain the service. And this takes minutes. So that's easing the service for everybody.
And that would lessen the time, lessen the work, lessen the efforts.
Time, effort, and corruption. Yes.
And that's a huge issue.
Yes, that's one of the main benefits.
So that's what or the protection that is needed is really delivered to people who are
who
really
deserve it.
Yes, yes, and that's something very important, particularly in this area where...
With the social protection, you need first of all to know if this citizen really needs the service provided, whether healthcare, educational, housing, electricity, whatever.
Indeed.
So that's our contribution with the artificial intelligence. We study these models and we try to help the initiatives to focus on the really less privileged people, the people who need this service.
Professor Nevine, you know that what you just mentioned right now needs a whole episode?
Yes.
We'll be speaking about that once. Let me go back to our topic tonight because it's the topic, but we need to speak more about how digital transformation can do all this serve, prevent, find. We need to make an episode. Anyway, let me here take, how do you preview the importance of social protection? What is social protection in the first place? Why is it inevitable, particularly in light of the challenges the whole world is seeing right now?
Actually, we're talking about procedures and policies that the government apply in order to help, again, the less privileged citizens, especially with the economic crisis. And that's a worldwide crisis, because sometimes people say that we suffer from many economic problems, and we keep on telling them that we're in a very much better status than other countries. We're suffering from many external factors, as we say again in our IT jargon. So that's because of the war, because of COVID-19. We had many crises, and that led to this economic crisis. So having these protection programs from our government, I guess, is a very good way to fight, again, to fight poverty and to help citizens, especially in these difficult times.
Indeed. And that is exactly what we need, particularly at this very critical stage. Unfortunately, my time is out. But we need to really cover several points that we spoke about, so in other
Inshallah.
episodes. Yes. Professor Nevine Makram Labib, Director of the Social and Cultural Planning Center, the INP, we thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you very much, dear. Thank you.
Thank you. And dear viewers, many thanks for watching that. Next debate would be on Sunday. Have a nice weekend and good night.